Welcome to today's episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, presented by Elite Credit Solutions. We are your trusted partner in affordable credit repair, proudly based in Tampa, Florida, and dedicated to serving clients across the entire United States. Join us as we explore the intricacies of credit management, share expert insights, and empower you with the knowledge you need to achieve your financial goals. Get ready for an enlightening journey into the world of credit. Let's dive in.
You're ready to finally tackle that debt in 2025.
Awesome.
That's the spirit. We're diving deep into Experian's 7 Steps to Get Out of Debt in 2025 guide today.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll pull out the most useful bits for you guys.
It's a big deal. Here.
Huge. The average personal debt is over $100,000,
Ouch.
and credit card balances
Don't even get me started.
around $6,500 per person. But hey, don't stress. Having a plan is key here,
It really does make all the difference.
like having a map, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just wandering around lost. So, first things first, Experian says, take inventory of your debt. I kind of like to think of it as knowing your enemy.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, it's about really understanding each debt, individually. Who you owe, how much, what interest rate you're up against, all that. Super important. So jot down the lender, the balance, that scary interest rate, your minimum payment, and when it's due.
Gotcha.
Oh, and don't forget the account status. Is it current? Late? Collections.
Oh, the dreaded collections.
Exactly. It's not just about that total amount. It's about building a strategy.
Like a detective gathering clues.
Love it.
So, speaking of strategy, let's move to step 2. Choosing a debt repayment plan. Experian talks about 2 popular methods, the debt avalanche and the debt snowball.
The classic showdown. It's like, which path are you taking up Mount Everest? The avalanche method, that's all about targeting the highest interest rates first, no matter how big or small the debt is.
Okay, so it's all about efficiency in the long run.
You got it. You save the most money over time, but it might take a while to see those big wins.
So more of a marathon, not a sprint? What about the snowball then? Is that the sprinter?
Exactly. You knock out the smallest debts first. Doesn't matter the interest rate. Just get rid of them quick for that sense of accomplishment.
Oh, I like that. Getting those wins early. So how do I know which one would actually be faster for me?
Let's say you've got like a $500 credit card debt at 20% interest. And then there's this $2,000 personal loan at 8% interest. Avalanche, you'd hit that credit card hard, right? Highest interest rate, even though the personal loan's got a bigger balance.
Makes sense.
Now, snowball, you'd tackle that credit card first again. Smallest debt, boom, gone.
Even though the personal loan has a lower interest rate, it could take longer with the snowball because it's a bigger amount overall.
You're catching on.
Thanks.
But honestly, there's no magic answer here. Really depends on your specific debts and what motivates you. Do you want to save every penny or feel that rush of getting those debts gone ASAP?
It's all about what works for you. That's awesome. And speaking of different approaches, Experian mentions debt consolidation. What's the deal with that? Like merging all those bills into one giant super bill?
Uh-huh. Kind of. It's more about combining them into something more manageable. And hey, maybe even snag a lower interest rate. 2 main ways to do this: balance transfer cards and consolidation loans.
So let's talk balance transfers. Gotta admit, that 0% APR sounds pretty sweet.
It can be a real game changer, especially if you've got good credit. 0% APR for a certain time means you can really attack that debt without piling on more interest.
But there's gotta be a catch, right? Nothing's ever truly free.
True. You need good credit to qualify for those amazing 0% offers. And this is super important. You got to pay off that balance before that intro period ends. Or else that interest rate, it can skyrocket. And then you could end up paying even more in the long run.
So it's a race against time.
You got it. And don't forget those pesky balance transfer fees.
Oh, wait.
They can be sneaky, like 3 to 5% of what you're transferring.
Oh, if you're moving a big balance, that can add up fast.
Exactly. Got to crunch those numbers and make sure it's actually a good move.
Balance transfers, potential heroes, but with some villains lurking around. What about consolidation loans? How do those work?
They're great if you like things nice and predictable. One fixed monthly payment, set repayment term. Simplifies your life, Just one payment to think about instead of juggling a bunch.
No 0% APR magic here, though, I'm guessing.
Nope, sorry. Interest starts right away, and you might even have origination fees on top of that.
So, more numbers to juggle. Any big red flags with these consolidation loans?
The biggest danger, getting tempted to rack up more credit card debt while you're busy paying off that consolidation loan. That's like trading one problem for another and maybe even ending up worse off than before.
Yikes. Definitely want to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like both balance transfer cards and consolidation loans, they each have their good and bad sides.
Absolutely. Choosing the right one, or even if you need one at all, really depends on your own situation and goals.
Makes sense. So we've mapped out the battlefield, picked our weapon, or maybe decided to team up with a few. Now what? What's the next step in this debt-slaying quest?
Well, now it's time to face the not so fun, but totally essential part, budgeting.
Yeah, budgeting. It's like that vegetable we all know is good for us, but we always try to sneak off our plate.
I hear you. But it really is the key to financial freedom, and it doesn't have to be this scary monster. Experience suggests the 50-30-20 rule. Good place to start.
Okay, I'm all about simple rules. Break it down for me.
So, 50% of your after-tax income, needs, housing, utilities, food, transportation, those minimum debt payments we talked about.
Got it.
30% is for your wants, entertainment, going out to eat, that new gadget you've been eyeing.
Okay, the fun stuff.
Exactly. And then the final 20%, that's all for savings and any extra payments you can throw at your debt.
Nice. So it's pretty clear and straightforward. Do we have to follow those percentages exactly, though? Like, what if my rent is crazy high or I'm really trying to save up big time?
Think of it more like a guideline, not a strict rule. The main point is to be aware of where your money's going, Make sure you're taking care of your needs and your financial goals.
Makes sense.
You can tweak those percentages to fit your situation.
So it's about making it work for you. Any practical tips for actually cutting back on spending? I'm always up for a good money-saving hack.
Start with your discretionary spending. Can you trim a bit there without feeling like you're missing out? Maybe swap those expensive gym memberships for free workouts at home or outdoors. Cook more meals instead of ordering takeout all the time. Little things can really add up.
Those are some great ideas. And I've heard about those no-spend challenges, where you basically avoid spending anything extra for a set time. Is that something worth trying?
For sure. It's a great way to reset your spending habits and save a good chunk of change quickly. You can make it as intense or relaxed as you want.
Cool.
And hey, don't underestimate the power of technology. Tons of free budgeting apps out there to help you track your spending, see those patterns, stay accountable.
Okay, so we've got our budget in check, but sometimes it still feels like an uphill battle. Anything else we can do to boost our debt-fighting power?
Well, have you thought about finding ways to bring in some extra cash?
Extra cash. No, that's something I can get behind.
Right.
Who doesn't love a little extra padding in their wallet?
Exactly.
Plus, it's like a secret weapon against that debt.
It definitely is. And it's easier than you might think to find ways to earn some extra money. What skills do you have that you could maybe freelance?
Ooh, good point.
Like writing, editing, graphic design, even something like virtual assisting.
Oh, yeah. Those are great ideas. I've also heard of people selling stuff online, things they don't need anymore.
Oh, for sure.
It's a win-win. Declutter and make money.
You probably have stuff hidden away in a closet or basement that someone else would be happy to pay for.
Yeah, totally.
Clothing, electronics, furniture, even old books or records. It can all find new homes online.
That's brilliant. Make some quick cash and free up some space.
Yeah.
But what if I'm not really, like, the selling type?
Okay, fair enough.
Don't have a basement full of hidden treasures.
Well, have you considered the gig economy?
The gig economy.
There are so many opportunities to earn income on your own schedule.
Oh, interesting.
You could walk dogs, tutor students, drive for a ride-sharing service, or even deliver food.
You're making me want to sign up for a dog walking app right now.
Right.
It sounds like there are so many options.
There are.
But what if I already have a job, but it's just not enough? Is it ever okay to ask for a raise?
Absolutely. If you're a valuable asset to your company and you can show what you've contributed, there's no shame in asking for what you deserve. It's important to know your worth and advocate for yourself.
I love that. Know your worth and don't settle. But once we have that extra income, whether it's from freelancing, selling stuff, a side gig, or even a raise, what's the best way to use it?
Resist the temptation to spend it. Every extra dollar you earn is a dollar closer to freedom.
Oh, I like that.
Set up a direct deposit system to funnel those earnings straight into your debt repayment plan.
Laser focus, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our budget streamlined, maybe even a side hustle, bringing in some extra cash. But let's be honest, paying off debt can feel like a marathon. How do we stay motivated when it feels like the finish line is miles away?
You're right. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's just as much a mental game as a financial one. Remember, those small wins matter.
Oh, for sure.
Celebrate every milestone, even if it's just paying off an extra $100 or $200.
So break down those big, scary debt numbers into smaller, more manageable goals.
Exactly. It's all about those little victories that keep you going.
What else can we do to keep our spirits up along the way?
Treat yourself, but responsibly, of course. Set up a little reward system for hitting those milestones.
Oh, I like that.
Maybe it's a special dinner, a new book, a relaxing massage, or a weekend getaway. Something that brings you joy and helps you recharge.
I love the idea of incorporating little rewards. It makes the journey more enjoyable.
For sure.
What about accountability? Does that play a role in staying on track?
Accountability is huge. Find a friend who's also working on their finances, join an online community for support, or even use an accountability app. Sharing your goals and progress with others can be incredibly motivating.
Those are great ideas. But what if, even with all of these strategies, we still feel lost or overwhelmed? Is there a lifeline for those moments?
Absolutely. Sometimes an outside perspective can make all the difference. That's where credit counseling comes in.
So what exactly is credit counseling? Is it like having a financial therapist?
Think of it as having a financial coach in your corner. A nonprofit credit counselor will analyze your entire financial picture and help you create a personalized game plan to tackle your debt.
So it's like a personalized strategy session with a pro.
Exactly.
What are some of the benefits of working with a credit counselor?
They can help you create a debt management plan, or DMP, which can make your monthly payments more manageable and, in some cases, even lower your interest rates. Plus, it gives you peace of mind knowing you have an expert guiding you through the process.
That sounds incredibly reassuring, especially if you're feeling stressed or lost.
It is.
If someone's interested in exploring credit counseling, how do they find a reputable counselor?
Start with reputable organizations like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, or NFCC, or the Financial Counseling Association of America, or FCAA. They have networks of certified credit counselors across the country.
Perfect. I'll make sure to include those links in the show notes. So we've covered a ton of ground today, from taking inventory of our debt to strategizing repayment plans, budgeting tips, side hustles, even credit counseling. I feel like we've given our listeners a serious debt-fighting arsenal.
We have. Remember, you're not alone on this journey.
It's true.
It takes time, effort, and a bit of creativity, but it's achievable.
Totally.
And along the way, don't forget to celebrate those milestones, big and small. It's all about progress, not perfection.
Love it. Now, there's one final point from Experience Guide that I want to highlight.
Yeah.
The importance of monitoring your credit throughout this whole process.
It's like watching your financial health improve in real time. It can be so motivating to see your credit score go up as you pay down debt and make responsible financial decisions.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many free credit monitoring tools available these days. It's easier than ever to keep tabs on your credit report and score. We'll include some good resources in the show notes.
Great idea. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the emotional side of debt, something we haven't really touched on yet.
It can be a huge weight, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of people, they carry shame and guilt around debt,
For sure.
and that can make it even harder to deal with.
It absolutely can. Those feelings, they can be paralyzing,
Yeah.
lead to avoidance, and even more financial stress.
Makes sense.
It's so important to remember everyone makes mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Debt doesn't define you.
That's so true.
Huh.
So as you're on this journey to financial freedom, be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Forgive yourself for any past mistakes.
You know, it's all about moving forward.
Focus on those positive steps you're taking now to change your financial future.
That's such an important message. Progress, not perfection, right?
Okay.
And if you're struggling with that emotional weight of debt, don't hesitate to reach out. Talk to a friend, family member, or even a financial therapist. It can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. You don't have to go through this alone. There's help out there. Now, before we wrap things up, let's do a quick recap of what we've learned from Experience 7 Steps. We started by talking about really understanding your debt,
Right.
creating that detailed inventory.
Like a roadmap, remember?
Exactly, to guide your strategy.
Then we dug into those two main debt repayment methods, the avalanche and the snowball.
Right, the avalanche tackling those high-interest debts first.
And the snowball, knocking out those smaller debts for those quick wins and motivation.
We also talked about debt consolidation, remember? Balance transfer cards, consolidation loans, all that good stuff.
With their pros and cons, of course.
Of course, budgeting was a big one too.
Yeah.
That 50-30-20 rule, a great starting point.
A good framework for sure.
And we can't forget about boosting your income.
Oh, definitely not. Whether it's freelancing, selling those unused items, side gigs, or even a well-deserved raise.
All those options are on the table. And throughout our deep dive, we talked about mindset,
Yeah.
staying motivated, celebrating those milestones, even seeking help from a credit counselor. Exactly. So I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. As we wrap up, it really hits me that financial freedom, it's about so much more than just not having debt.
It's about feeling empowered,
Yes.
having choices, living life on your own terms.
It's about being able to do the things you love, save
Right.
for the future, and just experience life without that constant worry of debt holding you back.
Imagine that peace of mind, knowing you're in control of your finances. That's true freedom.
It is an amazing feeling. And remember, getting out of debt, it does take effort, it takes dedication, but those rewards,
Priceless.
they're immeasurable.
You've got this. Take it one step at a time, celebrate those wins, and never underestimate your own strength.
Love it.
We're rooting for you every step of the way.
Beautifully said. And that concludes our deep dive into conquering debt in 2025. We hope you found this episode helpful, inspiring, and empowering. Remember, you have the power to create the financial future you want. Go out there and crush that debt. We'll see you in our next deep dive.
What's up, another insightful episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, brought to you by Elite Credit Solutions, your go-to resource for affordable credit repair across the United States. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you found the information valuable and empowering. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, don't hesitate to reach out to us at 813-317-6776. Additionally, don't forget to like today's podcast, share with your friends on social media, follow us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in tune with future updates. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep striving for excellence in your credit journey.